Okay, my first guest tonight is Golan. She's a senior minister in the government of Benjamin Netanyahu. She's joining me from a safe place in Tel Aviv at the moment, a city that's been bombed. May appreciate you joining us. We have seen in the last few days and hours indeed a further escalation of this conflict. One missile thrown by Iran on Tel Aviv responded with missiles on Tehran. Is there an end game to this conflict? Or are we going to see these tit-for-tat strikes continue over the next few days?
Look, we have to admit the facts and the truth. Israel has been avoiding this war for over 20 years. But right now, we see that Israel has reached the no-return point with the Iranian regime in Iran, which is actually a dictatorship that says every day of every week of the year that she wants to destroy the state of Israel and kill the population of Israel. Israel wishes no wish to go into war, to take her soldiers into war, her pilots. She has no wish to put the majority of her population in safe rooms,
No, but you're saying, May, there that you're claiming that Israel does not want to push the region into war. But here you have Iran claiming that Israel has been the aggressor this time. Iran is the one that is exercising the right to self-defense after the missile strikes and the taking out of Iranian military commanders and nuclear scientists. How do you respond to what you're hearing from Tehran?
Yeah, but the only difference is that we are trying to eliminate the dictatorship, the Ayatollah, the Iranian regime that for years says that Israel needs to end. They are shooting at an innocent population. We are telling the population to live in a head. They are not. Really, in the end of the day, I have to understand, is there any country that will accept the fact that there is a regime that says every day that it wants to destroy it? I don't know any other country like that.
You're saying that Iran wants to destroy Israel. Is Israel in turn looking for a regime change in Iran, that you want Ayatollah Khamenei to be replaced? There were reports that Donald Trump, according to Benjamin Netanyahu, that there is no regime change as such, but he wants the people of Iran to rise against the Ayatollah. Are you looking for a regime change in Iran?
First of all, I want to say that we have no beef with the Iranian people. On the contrary, we had a great friendship 50 years ago with the Iranian people. We admire them, their culture, their strongness, their beliefs. We have no fight with them. We have a fight with their regime. Now, I can't meddle in the people in what they want. They will decide what kind of a regime they have. They have a dictatorship, so they don't get to decide. We have a democracy. So in a democracy, you get to decide who will manage your country.
But is there an end game, ma'am? Because this could now, with every passing day, escalate, widen, and draw in other countries in the Middle East, possibly in other parts of the world, given the stakes involved. Is that a fear or not, that this is going to escalate beyond control?
There's only one end game. Iran has to stop enrich uranium. Iran has to stop and trying to have nuclear weapon that will destroy Israel. That is the only end game. We won't stop until we know that the state of Israel and her civilians are safe and protected, just like any other country in the world will not accept that. I have to tell you, listen, we are an island of justice in a sea of evil. This is not just the fight of Israel. Yes, we are fighting for our protection, but this is the fight of every liberal democracy. This is the fight of the free world. This is the fight for evil against good, for what's right against what's wrong. This is the fight. No one in his right mind can look at the Iranian regime, which is a cruel, horrible dictatorship, and say that that is a normal thing that can exist. Muslim people, they're calling Israel the small Satan and America the big Satan. So that means this every shape of democracy and every shape of terrorism. Why should we accept that? Should we wait for the second nuclear holocaust to happen? Should we?
No, no, you're saying that that you can't wait for the second nuclear holocaust to happen. You're blaming this on Iran's uranium enrichment program, which Iran says they are perfectly entitled to do. They claim it's a matter of their national sovereignty. But let me break down what you said just now, May. Number one, there will be those who will argue today that Israel's response in the last few days is disproportionate. Not just in Iran, but we've also seen in Gaza the manner in which innocent children have been killed. I know what happened on October 7, 2023 was terrible. But look at the response that you're seeing. Innocents are being killed both in Gaza and in Iran. Is your response proportionate?
I think what happened on October 7th was the most horrifying attack against Jews since the Holocaust. And I think that seeing the sights, if you would have seen the sights of women being raped, murdered, babies being slaughtered, men being cut off in their heads, I don't think that anyone can criticize Israel. And I remind you that the only innocent people that are in Gaza right now are the 53 hostages that are still being held in the dungeons, in the tunnels of the horrifying Nazi Hamas terrorists of our days. And they are the ones who should be released. Someone should take care of them now if they eat, if they're alive, if they're being tormented, if they're getting medical care. No one cares about them.
You know, you also mentioned earlier this is a fight for the free world between the forces of good and evil. Do you therefore expect, if this is a fight for the free world, Western democracies to join you in this fight? The US and the Western allies will join you in this fight against Iran at some stage? Is that the Israeli hope?
First of all, I want to say from this stage that I salute President Donald Trump and his efforts and his right place in the history of what's right and what's wrong. I can tell you that President Trump knows what's right and what's wrong, and he knows that we are trying to do every kind of diplomatic way in order to solve that. And when it's not possible, then we have to go out to war. Right now, this is Israel's war. And I trust President Trump to know what to do when it's time to do it. President Trump says he wants to try and reach an agreement. Well, we wish there is an agreement with someone to do an agreement with, and for them to stop and enriching uranium for a nuclear bomb. But until then, we have to keep our civilians safe, and we will do that alone if we have to. But I know that the free world will not let it stand aside, because if Israel will be destroyed, the rest of the free world will be destroyed. The liberal, enlightened world will not be able to exist. Again, I'm emphasizing this is a fight between good and bad.
You know, but why not, you know, you say that, repeatedly say you all want peace. If you want peace, then why not allow the US-Iran negotiations on the nuclear issue to continue? These negotiations were to take place yesterday in Oman. They were called off at the last moment. If you all ask, why did you not allow the US-Iran negotiations to continue? Why did you strike?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. First of all, you asked why to not prolong with the talks. Well, they are cheating. They are absolutely cheating. They are lying. They are continuing with the talks, saying they're stopping to enrich uranium, saying they will bring into an agreement, while they're continuing non-stop. We have an intel, a very big intel, I might add, an intel that the United States of America is well aware of. And that intel shows very clearly that they haven't stopped to enrich uranium and haven't stopped in order to try and destroy the state of Israel. Now, I'm telling you that if we wouldn't have that very clear intel of our Mossad and our forces, then we wouldn't have known that we have reached a very, very dangerous point in the basic existence of the state of Israel. And I don't know of any leader of a country that would have been fully aware of the fact that there is a real danger, a real jeopardy to the existence of 10 million people of his country, and he would have stayed silent. This is the leader. Our leader knows what he's doing. Our military forces knows what they're doing. And very what they're doing. Trust me, we have a very successful country that has been able in 80 years to establish a high-tech environment that has been able to reach so many achievements, cultural, economic, social. We don't want to ruin our lives. We don't want to try and live in a horrible war. This is not our goal at all compared to the Iranian regime that is making the population in his country miserable and poor, hungry and depressed. How in favor of enriching uranium and destroy the Zionism, aka the state of Israel. That's why we had to attack now.
Are you surprised, though, May, by the intensity of what Iran is also doing? The fact is that missiles have hit deep into Tel Aviv. There was reports of an attack close to the U.S. embassy in Tel Aviv. Tehran seems to be sending the message, May, that don't treat us just as a proxy. We are not Hezbollah. We are not the Houthis. We are a strong state and we will hit you back. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised at all. You know what I am surprised of? I am surprised from the millions of views that the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is getting with every video that he's saying to the Iranian people. I am surprised with the thousands of messages we are getting as support from the Iranian people and the wishes they wish on us and the happiness they have in our attempt to bring back also freedom. That's what I'm surprised of.
So what you are saying is Israel will continue to target Tehran, which means there will continue to be civilian casualties as they were in Gaza. Is that the strategy now, to somehow or the other raise the costs of this war for Iran, even if it means killing civilians?
I can tell you that the IDF, the Army of Israel, is the most moral army in the world. And I stand behind what I say. And we are telling the population all the time to leave. We are not targeting innocent civilians. We are only targeting the regime of dictatorship of the Ayatollahs. And we
224
will
civilians
not
are dead, ma'am.
stop until we take out the threat of terrorism and destruction on the state of Israel from the dictatorship of the Iranian regime. We will not stop.
You will not stop. One final question, May. What about India? What do you expect, Madam Minister, from the Indian government of Prime Minister Modi? Because within the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation, you've got countries like China who seem to be coming out in support of Iran. Russia seems to be coming out in support of Iran. India has taken a seemingly more neutral stand. What do you expect from the Indian government?
First of all, I want to, on behalf of myself and the government and our Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to say thank you to Narendra Modi, your Prime Minister, on his friendship and on his care to Israel throughout the years. And we expect from the entire liberal world to stand beside what's right. That's all.
Okay. There we have the minister joining us there. Appreciate May for joining us here on the show. May Golan joining me from Tel Aviv. Stay safe. Thanks very much for joining us.